Okay, perfect. I'll record on my end too, just as a backup. Welcome, everybody. It is March 25th, 2026, 10 o'clock a.m. I'm Phil Alberg's hearing examiner for the city of Port Orchard, and today holding a preliminary plat hearing. This is file number LU24-Plat-Prelim-03, another McCormick Woods preliminary plat application. This time, I believe it was for 105 lots for a single family residential development. So we've been through similar hearings like this before. The hearing format is the same always. We'll start off with a presentation from staff, and that's Ms. Andrews will give us an overview of the project. Once she's done, then we'll move on to applicant comments. If they want to add anything, they can, not required, but up to you. Then after that, we'll move on to public comments, and looks like we do have a few members of the public here today, both looks like in the city council chambers as well as several attending virtually. So we'll make sure to get all your comments there into the record. After that, we go back to Ms. Andrews so she can answer questions that were raised during the public comment, and also gives her a chance to complete the record if she thinks some information may be missing. Then, as a matter of due process, the applicants get final word and can present final evidence as well. So now Ms. Andrews has put together a pretty extensive exhibit list of documents that support her recommendation. Okay. Ms. Kirkhoff or Mike, did people hear my comments, or do I need to make them again?
There are
Shoot, no, I can't hear you now. So maybe you can chat, maybe Miss Kirkhoff. I can see. I mean, I just need to know if I need to repeat my comments or.
we do have people in the public that would like to comment.
Oh no, I'm asking if I need to repeat my comments because you've had me reconnect, so I don't know if you couldn't hear me before.
Yes, please, if we could do that.
To repeat my comments? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, for the record, it's March 25th, 2026, and today you're holding a hearing on a preliminary plat application, 105 lots for part of the McCormick Woods development. This is LU24-Plat Prelim-03. The hearing format is we'll start off with a presentation from Ms. Andrews. When she's done, we'll have the applicant comment. Once the applicant's done, we'll move on to public comments, and we'll be sure to get all the comments from both people attending virtually and in the meeting chambers. After that, then we'll go back to Ms. Andrews to answer questions and provide any additional evidence she finds necessary to complete the record. Then applicant, as a matter of due process, gets final word. By state law, I'm only allowed to consider evidence that's put in the record today. That's composed of the testimony provided as well as any exhibits admitted into the record. And Ms. Andrews has prepared an extensive exhibit list totaling 37 exhibits that she'd like to put in the record. And that involves a lot of infrastructure assessment, that kind of thing, and environmental impact assessment, including geotechnical reports, wetland assessments, the stormwater assessments, tree inventory, landscaping plans, and so on. So just need to ask if anybody needs to see any of those documents or has any objection to them being put in the record. If you have any objections, just go ahead and click on your raise hand button if you're participating virtually, or if you're in the meeting room, just wave your hand and you'll be recognized. So take a quick look here. It doesn't look like we have any objections, so I'll go ahead and hold on a second. Yep, no objections. So I'll go ahead and admit exhibits 1A through exhibit 37 of the exhibit list. And at this point, Ms. Andrews, let me swear you in. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Thank you. Before I get started, I wanted to introduce two additional exhibits to the record. One is a 2022 development agreement that includes the agreed upon road sections that are applicable to the plat. The road sections would get final approval in the land disturbing activity permit process, but I think it's important to have it in the record that that's why the road sections are different on the preliminary plat. The second is our biologist's memo summarizing their review of the applicant's critical areas information.
Okay, so we'll mark Exhibit 38 as the development agreement, Exhibit 39 as the peer review of the critical review assessment. Any objections over entry of those documents? Again, just click on the raise hand button if you do, or you need to see it, or just wave your hand in the meeting room. Not seeing any takers, we'll admit 38, 39. All right, go ahead, Ms. Andrews.
Thank you. So Planning Area H is within the master plan community of McCormick Woods. I'll share the plat map here. So the original preliminary plats of this area were done while this was still in Kitsap County's jurisdiction prior to annexation, and the area was known as Divisions 3, 4, and 5. Under a minor plat amendment to the original Divisions 3, 4, and 5 plats, the minor plat amendment was done in 2024 and 2025. The single-family lots that were originally planned within Divisions 3, 5 were shifted into other planning areas, leaving planning areas F, H, and M as future development tracts. There are several development agreements that Planning Area H is subject to. So these have been included in the record as Exhibits 33, 35, and 36, as well as the exhibit entered into the record this morning. The Planning Area H preliminary plat proposes to create 105 lots for single-family development and 10 tracts for access and utilities, open space, landscaping, and critical areas. The project is bordered on both the east and west sides by the existing golf course. There are golf course setbacks shown on the preliminary plat plans. They're varying widths depending on where in the path of the golf course they are. There are 2 wetlands and a drainage corridor on site and 2 wetlands off site to the west. All required buffers under the code and development agreements are shown to be met or exceeded. The city's biologist did note in their review that the drainage corridor associated with wetlands A and B, it does not have a contiguous bed and bank to meet the definition of a stream. The surface waters that are conveyed through these features appear to originate from stormwater management features that are west of the subject parcels. So the biologist observed numerous stormwater conveyance and flow devices at the upslope ends of the drainage corridors, such as stormwater diffuser and stormwater pond outlet pipes. So the plat for Area H was submitted on October 10th, 2024. So it was reviewed under the regulations in effect at that time, including the zoning code version that was last updated in May 2023 and the 2016 comprehensive plan as amended. So in the city's review of the project under these guidelines, we have found that the preliminary design is consistent with the zoning code and the comprehensive plan. We are recommending approval of the preliminary plat. And just as a final comment, I think it's important to note that the final civil plans and final designs for landscaping, stormwater, and utilities will be reviewed under a future land disturbing activity permit.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, just can you stop share? I want to share something I have questions on here. All right, let me pull mine up. Oops. It looks like my share is disabled now. Ms. Krupkoff, can you enable sharing or for me? Usually maybe if you make me a co-host, that'll do it.
I'm having difficulty changing as a co-host to allow you to share. Okay.
Here we go. Okay. I didn't see that I was muted and my video was turned off. I didn't realize that happened. Okay, so I'm just going to, oh, here we go. Now I can share. All right, there we go. Okay, so as I was saying, the traffic impacts of the proposal in the staff report, it makes reference to Development Agreement 35. This is 35, and it shows a table allocating, traffic according to various areas of the master plan, I guess, and it breaks it down into McCormick North, McCormick West, and McCormick Woods. So where is Area H in this table? I can't tell which part of that designation where the trips apply.
It is included in the line just labeled McCormick Woods.
Okay.
So
Okay, so it's part of this, so that's part of the 890 trips allocated for that area?
that's the total, including the McCormick Woods retail, the golf facilities, and the legacy lots. So for these areas that the F, H, and M plats are affected by is the first line in that section, McCormick Woods, and it's 697, 640.
Okay, perfect. All right. And I don't have much information on kind of the context of this within the master plan. Was there an environmental impact statement created for the whole master plan, or how was that set up? Because usually if you have an EIS that serves as the basis for part of the review, it should be made part of the record. So I just want to make sure we have a full record here.
Well, there was an EIS done for the entire McCormick Woods master plan back in the 80s. But specific to this area, we did do SEPA on this plat, F, H, and M, and there's also a lift station that was included in that SEPA determination. So that
is that in the record, or because I saw I think there's a DNS or something, but I didn't see an evaluation of more than Area H.
Yeah, there is a DNS.
Oh, okay. And so how's the master plan set up? I mean, when it came to Area H, was there like a conceptual layout of the lot layout, or was there something that indicated how many lots would be placed there? Or because, like I said, the master plan's not in the record, so I don't know how this all fits together, and there isn't a lot of evaluation of traffic impacts, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to piece it together here.
Yeah, a lot of the master plan, anything that was specified in it has been updated through these development agreements.
Oh, okay.
So there isn't anything in the master plan that would impact the current review of the project. So through the development agreements, we have kind of consolidated some areas and we've updated it so it's under the city's code rather than Kitsap County's code, and then also come to agreements for the transportation, stormwater. Those are what is included in the record.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds like quite the long journey to get to this point, it appears. So anyway, let's move on then to the applicant. If the applicants have any comments, now would be the time to do it. And Ms. Kirkhoff, do the applicants want to say anything?
I've requested there to unmute themselves.
Oh, okay. All right. Applicants, you want to say anything? If you do, raise your hand if you're virtual, or raise your real hand if you're in the meeting room. Okay, it looks like I got one raised hand. Patrick Hopper. Okay, Mr. Hopper, go. Let's see. Mr. Kirkhoff or Ms. Kirkhoff, can you bring him up to the screen?
I just sent a request to promote to panelist.
All right, great.
And it looks like Greg Krabby also has had his hand raised. He may be speaking on behalf of the applicant as well.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, hey, Pat Hopper with Contour. Yeah, Greg will be taking the main part of this. I am listed as the applicant. I think we are in support of all the conditions here, and as well as Stephanie's added exhibits to the record this morning, specifically the road sections comment. So thank you for that. Thanks for having us on. Greg, you can take over as needed.
Do you have any comments, Greg? I don't have your last name here, so.
Oh, yeah, yes. My name is Greg Krabby, and I do have comments, and I represent the developer.
Okay, let me swear you in. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm, tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
So, to address a couple of your questions regarding an EIS was done in the early 2000s. The traffic study was done then, and the trips that were allocated on behalf of the total development of the McCormick Village developments was established then, and those trips have been included in the city's traffic model ever since. So as Stephanie pointed out, that was done while this property was in the county. And then subsequent to that, there were a series of agreements that brought this project up to city standards. And, it was a combination of new requirements and the old requirements that we agreed to in these development agreements. So the traffic record is pretty complete. And if there's anything you need, we can certainly supply it.
Okay. That it, Mr. Krabby?
That's it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, let's move on to the purpose of the hearing today, which is to hear from the public. Let's first, people in the meeting room. Ms. Korkoff, do you see anyone out there who wants to make a comment today? And Ms. Korkoff, you're muted, so I can't hear what you're saying.
I do have one person stepping up to the podium.
Okay, all right, let's get them up and swear them in. Okay, so I see the podium. Oh, there we go. Okay, sir, just tell us your name and I'll swear you in.
Hi, my name is Tom O'Brien.
All right.
I live in the McCormick Woods community.
Okay,
And-
let me swear you in, Mr. O'Brien. Just raise your right hand. You swear firm, tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, and this is not along the lines of a comment, more a question. Is there any information that's available for what the phasing plan is looking like how long what a start date for the project construction might begin and when it might end?
Okay, yeah, I'll let Ms. Andrews answer that when we get back to her comments and we'll address it then. So did you have any other questions, sir?
At this point, no.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your input.
Thank
All right.
you.
Anyone else in the meeting room? Looks like Ms. Kirkhoff was saying there's only one in the meeting room, right? So now we have, looks like one person who's attending virtually, Mr. Wainwright.
I do believe he wants to present a photo, so I'm going to promote him to panelist.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have your video yet, but if it looks like, oh, there you are. Okay, let me swear you in, Mr. Wright. Just raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do.
Great. And just so you know, your written comment letters in the record as well. So go ahead.
Try to move so the glare is not so bad behind me. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate that. And I want to start off by thanking Greg and the applicant for addressing my previous comments. I've gone through the record. It's pretty extensive, and I do appreciate the effort they put in to double check the things that I was concerned about last time. um, Pretty much the thing that I wanted to talk about, Mr. Examiner, you've mentioned already. There's a major confusion in the community here, and I'm speaking on behalf of my own experience with the community, not as a member of the HOA board or on behalf of the HOA, but a lot of people have the same question you did. How did we get here? Where have we been? Those development agreements are difficult to read and not easily accessible. And the changes that have gone on over time have got a lot of people confused. And I just wanted to bring that up so Greg and the developers hear this, because there's a growing fear about what's happening, misunderstanding about what's happening. And I think it's important that we do something, I think, to summarize what's going on with respect to the overall plans and the overall pathway that we got here. One of the things that is coming up that is included in the development agreements eventually is going to be a roundabout at the entrance of McCormick Woods Drive and Old Clifton, and we have turn lanes there now. A lot of people are very anxious about that roundabout and are concerned if it's even necessary. So that's one thing. But when it gets down to the main things about this plat that I've been concerned about all along is loss of vegetation, erosion and sediment control, and stormwater management. And I think the applicant has addressed my concerns pretty well up to this point. The proof is still in the pudding in the final design, and that's going to be where the rubber hits the road. So good execution of construction and final design is going to be critical. The other comment that I made before, as I understand some of these plans, the stormwater's got to go downhill, which is going to force it to cross the golf course. There'll be easements and other infrastructure related items that may alter the golf course, but eventually some of those things become the ownership or maintenance requirements, management requirements of the HOA. And the HOA is right now considering a variety of things, but mostly they need the documents. They need the final designs, the as-built, and then the basis of design reports, so that in the future they can actually take care of the things that are being designed and talked about today. If it's the city's going to maintain it, that's not a big problem. But if the HOA is going to have it, such as parks, recreational facilities, and stormwater in particular, those are the things that are of great concern of the community here. So I think that's really the main things I wanted to say, other than thank you to the developers for taking my comments and addressing them. They did a good job. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. All right. Anybody else out there want to say anything before we go back to Ms. Andrews? All right, then. Looks like Ms. Andrews, back to you. And then, of course, first is to answer the question about, the contemplated construction scheduling. Maybe the applicant's in a better position to address that, but if you can, that's great. And also, I guess kind of related to Mr. Wright's questions is, for community information. I mean, seems to, we've done a bunch of these McCormick plats in the last few months. Are there any more coming up, or is this pretty much are we at the end of the road in terms of the areas that are going to be developed?
There is still planning area M that we will be bringing to hearing in the near future. The other plats they have those formerly platted lots that transitioned over from the Kitsap County preliminary plat approvals. And I did want to point out real quick, there is one other public comment. It's Russ. He submitted written comments and he does have his hand raised.
Oh, okay. Let's get him in here. Let's see. So that's all right. Russ, I guess Ms. Korkoff, you bringing him up?
Yeah, this is Russ Michael. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me swear you in real quick, Mr. Michael. Just do you swear firm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do. My video seems to be off at the moment, and I can't change it for some reason.
Okay, that's fine. As you're probably aware, your video is a button is on the bottom left of your screen, and if it has a red line through it, if you click on it, usually that'll bring your video up. But if that's not working, it's fine that we don't see you if you're okay with it.
Well, that is okay, but I had a couple screen shares that I wanted to share, but I'll go ahead. Yes, I do swear to tell the truth, sir. So my name is Russ Michael, Michel. Today I'm presenting this public comment on behalf of the Glenwood Homeowners Association with residents located at 6428 to 6458 Glenwood Road Southwest. These 4 properties are located approximately a half mile to the southwest of this proposed development. These are large lot properties within Kitsap County, and they're surrounded by properties within the city limits. I had a vicinity map, but unfortunately you all can't see it. Today, my comments focus on 4 areas of concern. First is stormwater runoff. Second is potential impacts to the aquifer recharge areas. Third is impacts to anadromous fish spawning streams and traffic increase impacts. So first, stormwater runoff. Okay, so Horace has asked to start my video, so I'm going to do that. So there I am.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. And I still can't screen share, but that's okay. So the residents of this homeowners association have historically experienced substantial property flooding. They are on water wells, and the resulting contamination of stormwater runoff from McCormickWoods property, in particular parcel 013-2002. And I had a slide that showed the illustration of the wells. Maybe what I can do is I can send that PowerPoint. It's 5 PowerPoint slides that can be entered into the record.
Yeah, that's what we suggest. So let's get that in there. Does anyone have any objection to entry of Russ's PowerPoint presentation? Okay, here, and then we'll make that exhibit. And hold on, see. No,
okay, I'll have to send that to Jackie after this meeting.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah. I'm just trying to find the number. Oh no, shoot. Do you remember where I was, Ms. Crow? I can't find the document that I was numbering exhibits here. Hold on a second. Shoot. I think it's 40. Isn't that right, Ms. Krakoff?
This would now be 40.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 40. Sorry, Mr. Russ. Go ahead. All right.
Okay. Thank you. These properties were part of a legacy stormwater system that was installed by the county when the road was built, McCormickWoods Road. It's apparently an inadequate legacy stormwater system that the county retrofitted, completing a project in 2023 for a total of $120,000. The situation is caused by stormwater runoff from a detention pond on McCormickWoods that's on the south side of the road, and it drains culverts through a 24-inch culvert from a overflow from a stormwater detention pond. That pond is missing from the county GIS and is visualized from aerial imagery, apparently has not been maintained. In the winter of 2020, approximately 250,000 gallons flowed through the property at 6428 Glenwood Road Southwest, and that's where my daughter lives. And that was measured by a trash pump being inserted into a culvert to alleviate property flooding off of McCormickWoods. I won't reiterate what was submitted by the Homeowners Association, which is included in exhibits 25.1, 25.2, and 27. Hopefully you've read and taken those comments into consideration as you consider your exhibit or consider your decision. The second point is aquifer recharge. These properties, again, get their water from potable water wells, and there's a number of residents in that area that also do the same. So the question with this proposed development and all the McCormickWoods residential development within the various planning areas and the vast increase in impervious surface areas, has the city taken into account the cumulative effect of these developments, especially on groundwater recharge areas and the potential impacts of water quality and quantity to that aquifer that serves those properties? Maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen any detailed aquifer mapping of the area or any engineering reports on this subject. The third point I'd like to make is regarding stormwater discharge into Ruby Creek and Square Creek. It appears that in this and other McCormickWoods developments that engineers design overflow from the site detention ponds in the nearby springs. So has the cumulative effect of all stormwater runoff from McCormick Woods development been considered regarding stream capacity, potential flooding of downstream properties following a major storm event? In addition, since these streams are designated anadromous fish spawning streams, again, like salmon, it seems to me to be a potential environmental impact that's not been addressed in the city's review from what I've seen. But again, maybe I missed it. Lastly, traffic impacts. I haven't carefully reviewed the traffic plan and other nearby McCormick Woods proposed developments. However, if there is projected to be an increase in vehicle trips per day from this and other McCormick Woods developments traveling west along McCormick Woods Road, turning north by the fire station along Glenwood Road Southwest, continuing southwest Sedgwick Road towards Sydney, there are concerns for existing property owners. This seems that existing development has already substantially increased traffic flow along those roads. And there's so many that are exceeding the speed limit there. It's just absolutely absurd. Today, it's a challenge and frankly dangerous for existing residents to exit their private roads and driveways. This concludes my public comment. Thanks for listening and addressing these concerns as you consider your decision.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. So make sure we don't have any other persons who want to say something. Again, if you want to say something, just raise the hand on your virtual or let Ms. Kirkhoff know in the meeting chambers. All right, so we'll go back to Ms. Andrews then, and some additional questions were raised. Especially with the stormwater, I don't know if that's within your province or the city's engineer is present, or maybe we'll let the developer, the applicant, answer those questions. Because any historical flooding, as Ms. Andrews, as you know, both the city's stormwater manual and the county's prohibits any generation increase in offsite flows. So I'm kind of curious, how that happened or what happened there.
Yeah, and I think at this point, it's probably most appropriate to have the developer speak on that. He has a wealth of background information that he can provide.
Okay, great. Yeah. And again, for you, there was a question about the scheduling of the project. And again, maybe that's a developer question too.
Yeah, I think Greg can probably best address that as well.
Okay. All right. Let's jump over to Greg then. It looks like you got your raised hand up already, ready to go. So let's put him back up, Ms. Kirkhoff, if we can. There he is. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so in regards, I'll start from the beginning. In regards to Mr. Wright's comments, we are aware of the community's concerns for the loss of vegetation, and we are working on an overall park agreement with the city. And one of the conditions the city is requiring of us is a reforestation plan. So, the number of trees that will be replanted is not going to satisfy everybody, but there is an effort being made to reforest these development areas by requiring additional trees to be planted on the individual lots. So those negotiations are ongoing, and that agreement will come to a public hearing sometime, I'm guessing, in June. Erosion control is always a big concern for us. And we will be, we try to focus our construction during the dry season so that we can minimize those risks. And then, of course, we monitor our erosion control measures as the weather changes. So far, we have not had an issue with runoff being out of control on our sites. We're very, very conscientious about this. So these designs the design for planning area H does discharge roof runoff over the golf course. And we are in the process of securing easements with the golf course to provide for the Department of Ecology's requirements for dispersion. And so those things are underway now. So, I mean, this, as I talk to you about this, some of these answers will address Russ's comments, but Russ, I'll get to you specifically when I get through this first list. So in regards to the stormwater facility maintenance, the city does not take on those responsibilities. So Mr. Wright again is correct. The HOA will be responsible for taking over maintenance of these facilities. The dispersion systems will be private. The detention system will be the responsibility of the HOA. I'm not quite sure what the mechanism is for getting that data to the HOA. We can certainly provide it, and we have representatives. The developer has a representative in Nick Tosti that works with the HOA. And so what I would suggest, Wayne, is talk to Nick directly about getting the data you need so that you can understand the maintenance obligations that we are adding to your list. Again, regarding parks, we are in the process of negotiating agreement with the city to minimize the number of small parks in exchange for some larger regional parks, which we think are easier to maintain and provide a better experience for the community. And that agreement is part of the reforestation agreement. So these things are in the works. I mean, this preliminary plat meets all of the requirements for open space, active open space, and planting, but we are in the process of enhancing that. And it won't be a part of this preliminary plat, but it will be part of a development agreement that will accompany this area in the near future. All right, Russ, you raised some big questions here, and I'll do my best to address them. So, I mean, based on your map, Russ, it looks to me like the storm drainage pond that discharges into your properties is due north. Is that correct?
Let me unmute myself here. It is on the south side of McCormick Woods Road. Sorry, there's a screen sharing thing happening here. It's on the south side of McCormick Woods Road. Yeah, and you see the two, that pond there that with the question mark is missing. Those four properties at the top of that little graphic there are the four properties that are part of that HOA, and the furthest one to the east is 6428, and that's the one where my daughter lives that has flooded as an overflow from Pond C. It appears that the stormwater culverts along McCormick Woods Road drain into that detention pond on the south side of the road, and the overflow of 24-inch culvert that runs basically northeast exits and then is picked up, and it was picked up by a 12-inch pipe, open culvert, a 12-inch pipe into a cistern, and the output of that cistern, and you'll see that in the PowerPoint that I submit later on, it had a 4-inch output from the cistern, so it was a huge block or choke point in that stormwater, and that's what caused flooding on my daughter and those four properties back in 2020, and inundation of the water wells that serve those four properties.
Okay, so that pond is not on our property. I mean, that is owned by the original developer of McCormick Woods, the McCormick family, but it's not me, it's not us. I'm not sure who's responsible for that pond. I mean, I'm happy to help you out. You can contact me directly, but if I were you, I would go directly to the city because that is all city right of way. And I suspect that pond serves the city right of way, and perhaps they need to maintain it. I don't know exactly. Again, this is not on my property, and it was built long before I got involved with all of this. So I think, you know, this sounds like a problem. And if I were you, I would go to the city and talk to them about it. And then they can contact me if I'm responsible for it. I don't know who is. frankly.
Can
And,
I
oh, sorry.
can I provide a little bit of information?
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Andrews.
So I'm sharing my screen. This first graphic is taken from some of the comments that Mr. Michael has provided us with, and where he's shown Pond C here. On the Kitsap County GIS tool, they have some utilities maps, so some culverts and drainage. Where he's shown Pond C here, and he provided this as-built drawing from when Kitsap County built this. That's actually located here. So this, and it's all on property. And so you can see here, this is the area where he's indicated there's a stormwater feature. This is Pond C. So that was an agreement that was made, yeah, I assume with the owner of these properties, because I believe they were the ones that built McCormick Woods Drive.
Yes.
But the city doesn't have any maintenance or any record of a pond being here that I can find. We do have record of this Pond C that's over here.
Okay. And Mr. Michael, just to clarify, I mean, do you think the flooding was caused by inadequate capacity, design, or is it attributable to just poor maintenance?
Well, first of all, let me address, before I answer your question, sir. That culvert that runs, and basically the second property from the left, that's where that culvert runs. So Miss Andrews, I don't know if you're a Miss or Mrs., but anyway, the lady from the planning department, there is a pond there in my graphic. There's also another one further to the west. So that's something that should be explored, in my opinion, by city staff. And to the credit of the people in the Public Works Department, I have been in communication with Mr. Bond and Mr. Hammer about this. So it's something that needs to be investigated further. But the stormwater runoff overflow from that pond flows through that 24-inch culvert. And as I mentioned, back in 2020, 250,000 gallons estimated flowed through there in a 24-hour period, causing major flooding on those properties, and again, inundation of the wells. So whether or not who owns the pond, whether or not it's the pond there or the one up the road, there's still a culvert that goes across there, and that's where the water runs through onto those 4 properties.
Okay.
Well, again, Mr. Olbrechts, I would point out that the development that we're reviewing today is in a different basin than the problems that Russ is pointing out. I mean, there's another stream that intercepts runoff from these developments. So again, Russ, I would continue to work with the city. We will certainly cooperate with the city if something needs to be done out there, but we don't own the pond or the properties in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, regarding recharge of the aquifer. So, that's a big issue. The stormwater manual doesn't require us to look at that. We are discharging by dispersion a significant amount of the development across native properties or native landscape and the golf course. So a significant amount of water will be allowed to, take its natural course into the soil and possibly ultimately into the aquifer. Now, most of the soils that we're running into out here are till soils, so they don't allow for very much infiltration in the immediate area. But but we are dispersing, which is the DOE manual's preferred method. We are dispersing the roof runoff onto the native landscape and across the golf course. So, I mean, we're doing something to keep some amount of water flowing across the landscape and ultimately into the aquifer. Other than that, you know, runoff from the roads on this site and some of the more difficult houses will be conveyed into a large detention pond, and that pond will not be lined. So if there's a possibility of infiltration into the aquifer, the water will go down into it. And we do see that in some of the other ponds that we've constructed. The infiltration rates, once we get down to these depths, can be pretty significant. And the water will make it into the aquifer, even though it's been collected into a pond. That pond will be discharged into a stream to pretty far to the west of you, and that stream runs to the north. So I wouldn't expect very much of our project's water to even make it into your neighborhood. Now, finally, regarding traffic, as was brought up in the first part of this meeting, there was an EIS done. The traffic impacts were assessed. They've been included. The full build out of McCormick Woods has been included in the city's traffic model ever since then. I can tell you that the original McCormick group that owns the property in the vicinity of the ponds that you were pointing out to us, they are in the process of developing that property, of pursuing a development plan, and they will be triggering a new intersection at McCormick Woods Drive in Glenwood. And my understanding is that it will be a roundabout. So, I mean, these things are being looked at. It's just, they won't be triggered by our development, but they will be triggered by a neighboring development that's in the process now.
Okay, and a question for Ms. Andrews regarding the critical aquifer recharge area. Is that addressed by the city's critical area ordinance? Is this project within a CARA?
It is addressed in our critical areas section of code, but for, there's identified uses in critical aquifer recharge areas that require further levels of study, and single family residential is a relatively low impact use as far as the critical aquifer section of code. So it does not require any additional review beyond the standard stormwater review, looking at what water is there and the critical areas information for streams and wetlands.
Oh, okay, so it is within a designated CARA area, though. It's just that nothing's required of this type of development. Is that what's going on, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Great, thank you. Okay, I think with that, I can go ahead and close the hearing. Yeah, the reason I was asking about the prior flooding problem is that, a lot of times in these projects, of course, stormwater is usually one of the most the biggest concerns of neighbors and that kind of thing. And I have a lot of faith in the the stormwater manuals required by the state that's adopted, in this case, both by Port Orchard and Kitsap County, that essentially prohibits development from increasing offsite stormwater flows. And my understanding is all the engineering calculations and design that goes into that works really well. And a lot of times neighbors even see improvements over prior stormwater problems because you have to mimic forested, pre-development conditions. So when somebody says that there's some, flooding occurring despite all that work, then I kind of wonder, what's happening, and how much I should have faith in those regulations. But of course, we don't have a complete story of what happened there. And the reason why I asked, is it a maintenance problem instead of a design problem, is that maintenance is something that can be rectified. If it's a design problem, that's a fault with the stormwater standards, and something worth knowing about. But I think that the stormwater manuals under state law, they're updated regularly to include the latest, and most feasible stormwater technology to ensure that water quality and flows are, all those impacts are fully addressed. So I haven't heard any comments about the stormwater design for this project being deficient in any manner, so I probably have to conclude that the stormwater design, since it conforms to the code, is going to protect the adjoining properties. But I just have a little bit of work. I got to figure out how those development agreements address traffic. It looks like there's been a lot of study done before, and the development agreement kind of piggybacks on it, but not all the data is in the record. But still, I base my decision on preponderance and substantial evidence in the record, and the development agreement is probably going to be pretty conclusive on traffic impacts. But so, I mean, overall, as I said, there's been a lot of study that's just addressed every impact of this proposal, and that's probably going to support the staff recommendation for approval. But anyway, I'll put together a detailed decision that addresses all of those issues. Anyone who wants a copy, make sure Ms. Andrews has your email address so she can email that to you. And with that, then we're adjourned for today. Thanks all for taking the time to participate today.